As the sand slips through the hourglass before the inevitable ban in the US, DJI is finally pushing back. Will their prodding of national security agencies prove beneficial, or will the US government continue to ignore their pleas and let the clock run out? In this video, I'm going to give you a brief recap of how we got here, as well as the mechanics of how DJI can avoid being banned in the US and why this ban would be such a terrible result for millions of Americans should it come to fruition. Let's quickly go over how we got here. In December 2024, the NDAA was passed, and a small part of that giant bill was included a part saying that if a small number of national security agencies need to determine whether or not DJI poses an unacceptable risk to the US. I'm not going to go through all of them, so I'll just put them on here and on the screen, and if you want to pause the video and read them, you can. Through all of this, DJI has always stood their ground, saying they have nothing to hide. They aren't sharing sensitive information with the Chinese government, and they openly invite the US to audit their devices and software to confirm their innocence. But this is where the story should have ended. The US looks at their products, either find nothing and drop the ban, or they find something and confirm it, and we all move on in an environment with or without the best drones in the industry by far. But here's the problem. The US government has not replied at all to this, and it's pretty obvious why. One of the caveats to the bill is that if those agencies I mentioned before do not definitively say there isn't a problem with DJI, that DJI will automatically be added to the FCC's covered list, which would then deny them approval for future devices, which is basically what the concept of a ban has been this whole time. It's not so much a ban as it is they just will deny permission for DJI products to access our networks, rendering them useless. So, after months of no momentum towards a resolution, DJI has issued a letter trying to hurry the US to act, formally asking those top 5 security agencies to evaluate their drones. They want an audit. They want transparency. They want their reputation to be solidified. But now it seems painfully obvious that the US is dead set on running out the clock and letting 2025 come and go with no review, which, as I said before, would enact the ban. I really hope I'm wrong, but it definitely seems like politics is playing a role, and DJI and the entire drone community will be hurt in the process. But who really will suffer the most from this ban? You might think it's just people like me, drone pilots who just like to fly for fun, maybe have a small YouTube channel centered around them. Don't forget to subscribe, by the way. But the reality is that in 2025, drones have been absorbed into almost all aspects of life. From hobbyists to professional photographers and videographers, to medical supply delivery, to law enforcement surveillance, to search and rescue, and everything in between. The loss of state-of-the-art DJI drones will result in loss of life. I have no doubt in my mind. First responders finding people lost in bad situations, or officers dealing with potential fugitives barricaded in place will have a vastly harder time performing their duties to provide help because they will be forced to either go without a drone or spend thousands of dollars more than they already did for a largely inferior drone from another maker. There's no way of expressing just how much worse things will become without the world's best manufacturer being able to sell their products to us in America. And let me be clear, I do not trust the Chinese government, not one bit. In a previous video, I caught a lot of flack in the comments for being devil's advocate and eagerly waiting for Congress to show us their proof. But now it's becoming crystal clear it just isn't there. It's fear-mongering at its finest, and sadly, it's working. What can we do? Same as before, we can keep bombarding our state senators to implore them to speak out against this. Tell them to urge the security agencies to do the audit that DJI is desperately begging for. Do not let them run out the clock. Email, call, text, hit them up on all their socials. Be as vocal as possible. Here's hoping the next video I do on this topic is popping open some champagne in celebration of a review result showing what we all know along, that DJI is not doing anything nefarious and all of this nonsense is behind us. Thank you so much for watching. I love you guys. Bye.